Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, a bit explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or wrong. Here we go.
I'm Deputy Chief Terrence Rhodes of the Dallas Police Criminal Investigations Division. I will brief you on the details as we know them of the officer-involved shooting that occurred on January 25, 2023 at 2546 Bahama Drive. This is the first officer-involved shooting involving a Dallas police officer in 2023. On January 25, 2023 at around 3 p.m., Dallas Police Fugitive Unit officers were in the area of 2500 Wilbur Street on an unrelated investigation when they located the suspect, Joey Cesar Fraire, 18, wanted for capital murder out of Farmers Branch, Texas. The officers, Officer Joshua Gonzalez, Richard Witt, Scott Neal, Victor Lewis, Aaron Hale, and Elliot Howell were aware of Friday's wanted status from a wanted persons bulletin. Officers followed the suspect, who was a passenger in a vehicle, to 2546 Bahama Drive, the Bahama Glen Apartments. The preliminary investigation determined once in a parking lot as a part of a high-risk apprehension of the violent wanted suspect, Fugitive Unit officers gave repeated verbal commands to deploy a distraction device for the driver and Friday to exit the vehicle. The driver got out of the car and was taken into custody. The suspect refused to exit the vehicle and follow commands, and the Fugitive Unit again deployed an additional distraction device, followed by pepper ball rounds, and the suspect still did not exit the car. The Dallas Police Drone Unit was on the scene to assist the Fugitive Unit, and the suspect was seen on drone video holding a handgun, which was relayed over the radio to members of the arrest team on the ground. The drone was a live feed and was not recording at the time of the incident. The investigation also determined the suspect then opened the car door and fired at officers. The officers returned fire, hitting the suspect multiple times. First aid was administered by Fugitive Unit officers, and Friday was taken to a local hospital where he died from his injuries. One Fugitive Unit officer was shot in the left foot. He was taken to a local hospital, treated, and released. The suspect's weapon was recovered at the scene. The investigation is ongoing and is being investigated by the Dallas Police Special Investigations Unit. The Dallas County District Attorney's Office was notified and responded to the scene and will conduct their own investigation. The Office of Community Police Oversight was notified and responded to the scene. In an effort to be transparent, the Dallas Police Department is releasing the body-worn camera footage of the incident.
He has a gun in his right hand.
Under the car. At his foot.
Romeo 350. I've got shots fired, 2540 Bahama, capital murder suspect. He is down. I have plenty of cover. I need at least one ambulance.
He's coming. To your right, to your right.
Stand by, pepper ball.
I got stuff. Just keep walking back to me. Keep walking back to me.
Pepper ball coming out, so we...
Get your goddamn hands up! Get your fucking hands up! Joey, get your hands up!
I can't see him.
You guys want to place on that side?
I can't see him.
You can't see it.
He cannot see him.
I see him. He's still moving around.
Alright, he's gonna be coming out here shortly.
Also, get you.
I got your best lethal.
Are we good for another divide? Alright,
Yeah.
right hand is down.
Hold on, guys. Keep moving.
Hands up! Hands up! Get on the ground!
Yeah, I got it. Hands up! Stop reaching!
Gun in the hand. Gun right hand.
Put your fucking hands up! Put your
Gun in
hands
his
up!
right hand.
Relax.
Take over.
Right here.
You're okay. It's on my left foot. It's on my left foot.
You have a tourniquet on you?
No, hang on. Just relax. All right, guys. I'm here. I'm going to tourniquet on myself.
Wait, hold on, guys. Hold on.
Get down.
I'm all right.
Where you hit?
That's my left foot.
You got it? You got it where?
Where's the gun?
Left foot.
Guys, it's just my left foot. It's just my left foot.
At his feet.
Hands up! Hands up! Get on the ground. Yeah, I got it. Hands up! Stop reaching!
Gun in the hand. Gun right hand.
Gun.
Put your fucking hands up! Put your hands
Gun in his
up!
right hand.
What's your gun, Neil?
He's down. Got one down. Hold up, he's down. Hold up, guys, hold up.
Hey, put your rifle down.
Everybody slow down.
Neil,
What?
get back! I got it.
Sergeant, take over.
Go back inside. Now.
Coming up.
Go back inside.
Hey, see what he just asked us. He said something about a gunshot.
Make sure nobody got hit upstairs.
Right here.
Did he get a tourniquet on his leg?
Here, one on the arm.
DFR coming?
Yeah, they're coming.
You got a marker on you?
Hey,
Yeah, I do.
who got plastic?
307 on the time when you get it.
I need plastic.
Hold on.
Everybody in that apartment's good, Sergeant. Everybody in that apartment's good.
You got tape.
I gotta take over here. Yeah.
JJ?
Working it.
Maybe to the leg, right?
Yeah, need another one on his left leg. Hey, I got a chest seal. In my bag.
I need it. I need a chest seal.
I got a chest seal. All right, let's get back into this. So they're dealing with an 18-year-old, I believe is what they said, capital murder suspect. So 18 years old, committing a murder, shooting it out with the police. That tells me that
Suspect Joey Cesar.
this is probably not his first rodeo with the criminal justice system. Seeing as he's 18 years old, all of his juvenile stuff is most likely sealed record. Unfortunately, that's how it is in the majority of the states here in the U.S. Juvenile laws are done in such a way where the information regarding the juveniles is protected information and it doesn't get released to the public. The idea behind that, the merit behind that, is to give juveniles a second chance because they are still developing. They make some honest juvenile mistakes. And I can stand behind that to an extent. A little bit of shoplifting, some theft, stuff like that. Like, I could understand a juvenile's record being sealed for that. 12 years old, shoplifting some stuff from, Walmart. I get it. It's not the crime of the century. And they can, go through the process and learn from their mistakes. So yeah, it's okay. But there are certain juveniles who are involved in more than just stealing candy from Walmart. They are living the street life. They are living that lifestyle that is portrayed in such a positive light by their rap star idols. They are happily selling drugs and doing other gangster crap and shooting at each other. This isn't just a simple 12-year-old who is making a slightly dumb decision. These are juveniles who have made repeated serious mistakes in their life. And they are no different than a 19, 20, 21, 30-year-old criminal. The only difference between the 15, the 16-year-olds and the 22-year-olds is the number of times they've been around the sun. That is it. That is the only real, true, discernible difference between them. It's just how many times they've been around the sun. Other than that, the 15, 16, 17-year-olds, they're just the same as the 22, 23-year-olds. They're out there trapping. They're out there living that gang life, shooting at each other. Real deal. Those are the ones who should not benefit in any way the current juvenile laws as they're set up. There needs to be some reform with juvenile justice, and there has to be another bracket, so to speak, of dealing with these type of offenders. Now, in the states, each state has their way of charging a juvenile as an adult. Here in Kentucky, we call it YO, youthful offender. So if you ever hear someone saying, "Oh, he was YO'd," or "We're going to YO him," or "The court decided to YO him," that means youthful offender. They're being charged as an adult, and when they turn 18, they can go to prison straight from juvenile detention or youth development center. Other states may call it something different. But it's that in between that is lacking. So you have just straight juvenile stuff, and all the straight juvenile stuff is like from the mindset that they're 5-year-olds, like they're little children. When they're in juvenile detention, they literally get nighttime snacks. Fucking Teddy Grahams and shit like that. Nighttime snacks. They get a snack after breakfast. They get a snack after lunch. They get PlayStation or Xbox. Get to go to the gym multiple times. Get coloring books and crayons. I mean, it literally is childish. These 15, 16-year-olds, hell, even 14-year-olds, who are living that gang life, they are nothing like the other regular juvenile offenders. But they get lumped in with them, and they get housed together. So you have 10-year-old runaways from home who've done it a couple times, and a judge orders them to be locked up in detention. You have a 13-year-old runaway girl in the same pod as 17-year-old capital murderer, as the gangbangers. It's not right. It's not the way it should be. So there is some serious lacking in the juvenile world, and nobody knows about it because of the secrecy of how the laws are set up. There's no good flow of information going to the public. You can't even look this stuff up. You can't even look names up to see, who's been around, what and who, and none of that. You just can't see their charges, nothing. So the public is completely in the dark with this stuff. If the public had any idea how juvenile stuff is ran, I would like to think that they would be causing a bunch of ruckus and demanding a bunch of changes. So, said all that to kind of give you some perspective about, what this cat's like. I can tell just based off, what's happening in the video, this photo, that he has been in and out of the juvenile system multiple times. This is not his first rodeo. He didn't just one day decide he's going to do this thing and then commit a murder and then try to shoot it out with the police. He's been living that gang life, or if he's not in a real deal bona fide gang, then he wanted to be, and he was living that wannabe gangster kind of lifestyle, stealing stuff, car hopping, selling, you name it. He was out there willfully and gleefully trying to live that life, that gangsta life. Luckily, he will not be doing that anymore. But had this not happened, he definitely would have been spending the rest of his life in and out of the criminal justice system. So we got this thing, I don't know, it looks like it says mechanic. 18 years old, so to buy a handgun from a gun store, you need to be 21 years of age to purchase a handgun. A lot of the states say that you can be 18 years of age and possess a handgun legally, but you got to be 21 to buy the thing from a licensed gun dealer. So there are some states that allow private sales, so you can buy it from someone else, a family member, church member, civic club member, whoever you meet out there in life. As an 18-year-old, you can go buy a handgun from them. Was he legally able to purchase a handgun? I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if he caught some felony charges as a juvenile, and of course that carries over to adult life and prohibits him from being able to purchase firearms. So kind of doubt that he was even legally able to possess the thing anyway. How did he come into possession of it? Most likely it's stolen. Either he stole it or he bought it from someone who stole it. That's a very common thing with the street crowd, is they are using stolen guns. It's possible that he had a friend or a family member who bought the thing legally, and then he bought it from them in a private sale. My bet would be going towards it's probably stolen. And how do these guns end up getting stolen? Is lawful gun owners carelessly and negligently leaving them in center consoles of cars, or unlocked or non-locking glove boxes of cars, or leaving them on the nightstand or in the nightstand, on the coffee table, in between the mattresses, whatever, at home. leaving them there unattended for long periods of time, and then someone breaks in, opens a door, and takes it. If you do not have your gun on you, and it's not within arm's reach of you, it needs to be made inaccessible or inoperable to unauthorized people. If you're going to go leave the house for the day to go to work and be gone for about 8, 10, 12, 16 hours out of the day, whatever kind of shift you work, you need to secure that gun at home in a safe. You don't need to leave it in the nightstand, or sitting on the nightstand, or sitting between the mattresses, under the pillow, on top of the closet shelf. Those are all places that people know to look. You don't need to be leaving it in your car, under the car seat, in the center console, which pretty much damn near all center consoles do not lock, or leaving it in the glove box unlocked, or in a glove box that doesn't have a lock in it at all. You need to get a safe for that vehicle to store that gun in if you're going to be leaving it in that car for extended periods of time. Lawful gun owners are going to be the ones who get our gun rights taken away from us. When you look at the anti-guns gun violence statistics, the driving force behind all those numbers is little criminals like this. It is literally like the inner city youth of these large cities that is driving the gun violence numbers. Like Chicago is driving a good chunk of the gun violence statistics. Louisville, Kentucky, same thing. Where are these guns coming from? We know that these convicted felons are not going to gun stores and buying them. They can't do it. They won't pass the background check. The person at the gun shop will not sell it to them, or they could lose their license. So we know they're not legally buying them like that, because they can't legally buy them. They're either stolen or they're being straw purchased. But a good chunk of them are stolen. And those numbers are rising. Each year, the numbers have gone up in the last few years. If you're not going to keep your gun on you, then keep it locked up. Otherwise, it's going to get stolen, or has the possibility of being stolen. And when it gets used in a street crime, it's going to add to the overall statistics of gun violence. And that is what the left is going to be able to use to take our rights away from us. Alright, now to the fun stuff. So it's pretty cool they had this little drone. Too bad it wasn't recording, but you can see in the controller right here, the guy operating it, it's, of course, looking down. So you can kind of tell that this is the car door right here. Towards this area right here is the front of that vehicle, and then boom, this over here would be the rear of the vehicle. So you can kind of see a little bit of the beginning of this thing with him leaning out with his gun and everything, which is pretty neat. It's pretty cool. So you can see him, his legs are right there. He's got his arm extended out. He's pointing that gun at them. Back it up just a little bit more. You see it one more time.
Right hand. Here's how to do
it. It's just crazy that like all this stuff is going down right over in here. And these two dudes are like they're just watching it unfold on the drone cameras. Like they're just like they're watching, you know, a movie almost, like an action scene. Just sitting there chilling, just watching this gun battle unfold through their little smart device thing here. It's kind of an interesting visual.
Under the car.
Romeo 350. I've got shots fired, 2540 Bahama, capital murder suspect. He is down. I have plenty of cover. I need at least one ambulance.
So drones are pretty cool. They are changing how, or they are changing, and they can change how certain things are done. They can add to your SOPs and TTPs on how you deal with stuff. They do offer a really great advantage. Heck, if you look at the Russian-Ukraine war, it was just today, I think, which time of recording for me right now is June 15, 2023. There was something about a Russian soldier was in the trenches, and the Ukrainians were flying a drone overhead and was about to drop a bomb on this dude, and he threw his rifle down and basically was communicating to the camera, I think by hand signals, indicating that he was surrendering, like he was done with the fight. I believe they flew another drone in, dropped a message to him and said, "Follow the drone." And so they flew the drone and had him follow this damn drone, and he walked to wherever they wanted him to walk to, and they took him into custody, took him as a prisoner of war, and like that's new. Someone surrendering to a drone. Prior to this, watching the videos of the Ukrainians dropping bombs from consumer grade, civilian grade drones, and with accuracy. Like, I've seen quite a few videos where you see a Russian in a trench or in a foxhole, and they'll drop that grenade right beside them, and boom, lights out for them. They're changing a lot of things. That's just like warfare. For domestic law enforcement, is changing a lot of things. They're great for like general photography of the area, like aerial photography, like doing crime scene or accident scene reconstruction, doing crime scene documentation, getting a good aerial view over things, and showing what everything looks like from bird's eye view. The accident reconstruction stuff, used to be, and it still goes on in some places, but it used to be, call the fire department out and have them bring a ladder truck, and they would extend that ladder truck up really high, and an officer go up there with a camera and take aerial shots from the bucket of the ladder truck. I can do it with a drone. Drones can be used to quickly search large areas for missing people or for fugitives. The drone can go in to areas where an armed person is suspected to be and look and see what's going on with the person, just like they were doing here. They were flying that drone in close, getting a good eye on this person, seeing exactly where he was at, able to accurately relay information. He's got a gun in his hand, blah, blah, blah. So you're able to get in there and see things without any humans being put at risk. So they're really neat. Just like with anything, some are more expensive than others, but as this technology grows and explodes, the cost of them overall, I think, is going to be attainable. It's going to be feasible for many agencies, even agencies that you would traditionally consider to be kind of poor. They're going to, in some way, be able to afford a drone and do stuff with it. So really cool technology. Even Axon, the people who make the tasers, they are going down the drone route, and they've got this prototype of a drone made up that can fire taser probes into someone. Kind of a cool concept, but you get the idea of like how this technology is just evolving. Moving on.
He's coming. To your right, to your right.
Stand by, stand by. Hit the ball, hit the ball.
I got stuff. Just keep walking back to.
Alright, so that's the driver. They're pulling them out. So they're doing, your typical felony traffic stop. Pull one person out, give them those verbal commands, get them into custody, put them in the vehicle, secure them, and then start trying to draw that second person out with verbals and go from there.
Hey, you got pepper ball coming out, so
Get your goddamn hands up! Get your fucking hands up! Joey, get your hands up!
I can't see him.
You guys want to twice on that side?
I can't see him.
You can't see it. You cannot see
I
it.
see him. He's still moving around.
So that noise you could hear in the background are really fast. It's like, bah. I'll hit rewind for the 5 seconds and replay it. I think that's the pepper ball gun firing.
He's coming out here shortly.
How's the road getting you?
I got your best lethal.
Are you good for another divide? Alright,
Yeah.
right hand is down.
Hold on, guys. Keep moving.
So this vest here and his handgun. This is why with larger outer tactical vests, the drop leg design is favored, because when you have a waist mounted holster like this, your vest can impede your ability to draw that gun out. If this officer had to do a transition the pistol, he's going to be fighting his equipment to get to his backup gun. It looks like this guy was doing some plainclothes kind of stuff, because he has a inside the waistband holster. The rest of his shirt appears to be untucked, and he has tucked the shirt in behind the gun to make it a little bit more accessible, and then has apparently thrown this vest on over top. I get it. Those type of roles, those positions, you're wearing plain clothes or whatever, and you want to be concealed, but it would be to a person's benefit, I think, if they're going to have a vest and everything, all tactical vest set up with the flashbangs and crap in it, to have a quote-unquote a war belt, with the good outside the waistband holster, maybe on a drop leg kind of platform, or maybe one of the, I think they're called the UBLs, something that rides a little bit lower. Maybe some other stuff on the belt, as well, but something to, be able to put on and alleviate this kind of issue. Because again, like I said, if he had a malfunction with the rifle and had to go to pistol, he'd be fighting his gear to get this pistol out.
Get your ass, get on the ground.
Yeah, I got it. Hands up! Stop reaching!
Gun in the hand. Gun right hand.
Put your fucking hands up! Put your
Gun
hands
in his
up!
right hand.
So the big kaboom that you're hearing and seeing,
Is down.
is this thing right here. These are NFDDs, noise flash diversionary devices, also known as flashbangs. Obviously, someone on the other side over there deployed one of theirs. These things, they can be used indoors or outdoors. Traditionally, you see them being used indoors, before a team makes entry into a room. They produce millions of candle power of light and hundreds of sound decibel, extremely loud and bright. It is a less lethal explosion, less than lethal explosion going off. Super bright, super loud. So when you detonate one of these things in a confined space like a room or a hallway, it'll rock somebody's world. It'll definitely rock their world. It'll stun them, especially if they're not expecting it, which is also why they're also known as stun grenades. You throw one of these things in a room. They have a very short fuse on them, so a regular fragmentation hand grenade has something like a 5-second fuse on it, something like that. These flashbangs got like a 1.5, 2-second fuse on them. They go quick. So literally, you throw this thing and it could still be mid-air, arcing through a room when it goes off. A lot of times they do hit the ground, but it's very quickly after they hit the ground that they go boom. And when it happens so quickly like that, and you just have this bright flash of light and this loud ass noise, I mean, just imagine, like, you're sitting at home, sitting on your couch watching TV, or you're sitting in the kitchen or the dining room, you're eating, sitting in the office on the computer, and then BAM! Big ass explosion goes off. Like, it's going to startle the shit out of you. You're going to have most likely a freeze reaction. And while you're in this frozen kind of moment, like, holy shit, what the hell was that? While you're in that moment, boom, people are flooding in through that door, guns pointed at you, and you have no time to adequately react to that and fight them back. So, in an outdoor sort of environment like they're using it here, you can use them for like crowd control things. Throw them towards people, not like at them to hit them with it, but throw it in the general direction. It goes off. It can scare people. It can make them like, oh, I don't want to go near that. That was really loud and bright. Like that could hurt me. So it can make people back away and not want to go near an area. You can also use them to draw people's attention to one particular area. So you set them off to the left over here, they're going to be turning around looking over that direction, like, what the hell was that? Oh shit, what's going on over here? And while they're looking in that direction, boom, people come in from the other side, and then boom, get them by surprise.
In the hand.
Put your hands
Gun in his
up!
right hand.
So that was like the go command for him. As soon as that thing went off, he pointed that gun out, and it's on. I'm not coming. So, I think maybe he got shot when the dude pointed the gun out and fired. That that's the only time I think that he could have been shot, because we don't see the suspect past that point. He kind of goes back into the vehicle a little bit, and then he tries to run out of it. But there's a lot of barriers in between them. So I think when he pointed that gun out and fired, I think that's what hit this guy. And it's this interaction is interesting, because he's signifying he's been shot, and then she is like, "Do we need to put a tourniquet on you?" or something like that. I can't remember what she said. He's like, "Calm down." So this dude has been shot, and he's telling someone else, "Calm down about me being shot." A badass right here.
Everybody slow down. Slow down.
Relax. Yeah.
Everybody slow down. Slow down.
I've been shot. You relax.
Sergeant, take over. Sergeant,
Right
take
here,
over.
right here.
It's on my left foot. It's on my left foot.
You have a tourniquet on you?
Nope. Hang on. Just relax.
Just relax. I've been shot, but it's okay. Just relax. And dude is cooler than the other side of a pillow, man.
All right, guys. I'm here. I'm trying to get on myself.
Wait, hold on, guys. Hold on.
Get down. I'm all right. Where you hit? It's my left foot.
You got it, man. Where's the gun?
Left foot. Guys, it's just my left foot. It's just my left foot.
That is me.
It's just my left foot.
So, yeah, like I said, this dude's cooler than the other side of a pillow. He communicates to people that he's been shot, and he's going to be performing self-aid. And very quickly, other people get to him to start assisting with rendering aid to him. He puts a tourniquet on. I don't necessarily think that a tourniquet was needed for this. Tourniquets are for arterial bleeding, or if you have something like an amputation. They're not for every cut, for every stab wound, for every bullet hole that you get. It's just for massive hemorrhaging. But I like how, they're thinking in terms of medical, let's stop the bleeding, and they have the equipment to do that with. So I like that aspect, but I guess you could say I can kind of tell that the level of medical training is at that awareness kind of level. Maybe a few steps towards an operations kind of level, operating knowledge, but more just that awareness area. Something like a gunshot wound in the foot, I think, some compressed gauze, pressure bandage, would probably be suffice enough to stop the bleeding in that foot. I don't think that a tourniquet is necessarily needed. Interesting handcuffs placement right here on the radio antenna. No, I wouldn't say that's exactly the best way to carry handcuffs. Running around, falling on the ground, they're just going to slip right off the radio. Handcuffs need to be in a pouch, just like anything else that you want secured. It needs to be in a pouch.
That is me.
Hands up! Get on the ground. Yeah.
So this guy has obviously a full uniform on. This dude, he's got his battle belt and his vest, but he has like this weird hoodie thing on, so looks like he might have been in some kind of plain clothes kind of setup or whatever, and then this stuff got thrown on.
I got it. Hands up! Stop reaching!
Gun in the hand. Gun right hand.
Gun. Put your fucking hands up! Put your hands up!
So you can see right here, this drop leg, that provides enough clearance for a pistol to be removed when you're wearing a larger, thicker outer vest like this.
Right hand.
So the flashbang went off, and he wasn't fully prepared for it. And then real shots happened. That's a good freeze frame. So yeah, they get shot at, and he immediately kind of dodges to the left and then falls down. This officer here, whose camera we're watching, I'll back it up and pay attention to his muzzle discipline. That was a good freeze frame right there. I mean, he's pretty much at some point pointing his fucking pistol at this guy. Always need to be aware of your muzzle discipline and where you're pointing this thing at. It would have sucked if he would have sent a round into one of his own people.
Neil! He's down, he's down, he's down. Got one down, got one. Neil! He's
So he goes to take cover around to the front of the vehicle and lean out. And this is where we see the bad guy come out. You still see the gun in his hand. Pay attention to his right knee right here. Let me back it up. You see he's got that foot planted and his right knee is swinging out some. In this kind of position, it would have been better for him to plant that right knee into the ground and then lean his upper torso out. The issue of having your knee like this swinging out some is it creates more target area for the bad guy to see and potentially hit. Without being able to, take a video of a demonstration showing you, leaning out from behind cover, I can't really show a good visual to you. It's just something you have to kind of visualize as I verbally explain it. But leaning around corners, leaning around in this kind of angle right here for him, that right knee needs to be planted. If it was the other way around and he was leaning out to the left, that left knee needs to be planted behind that cover so that when he leans out, only his very minimal part of his upper torso is being exposed.
Neil! He's down, he's down, he's down. Got one down, got one down. Got one down, got one down. Neil! He's down, he's down, he's down. Got one down.
We're correct with that. We're correct with that.
Everybody slow down. Slow down.
Neil. What? Get back. I got it.
Okay, fine. Sergeant, take over. Sergeant, take over.
Go back inside. Now.
Coming up.
Go back inside. Go back inside.
So these people are wanting to come out and see what's going on. Not the brightest thing to be doing. Like, if you have heard a freaking gun battle go on outside your house, the best thing for you to do is stay away from that side of the house that you've been hearing that gun battle go at. Just because you don't hear any more rounds going off doesn't mean that there won't be any more rounds going off. If you go poking your head around windows and stuff and the gunfight starts back up, you could end up getting shot in the face by stray rounds. So don't be noisy, don't be nosy, going around poking your nose around things, trying to figure out what's going on, getting your phone out, trying to get that cool recording to put on social media to make it go viral. You could very easily end up being hit from a stray round. Stay the hell away from the sound of gunfire unless it's your job or your responsibility to go towards the sound of it.
Now.
Coming up.
Go back inside.
So they've started medical care on this guy. I don't understand this urge and this desire by agencies to put blur boxes over things that don't need a blur box. He has sweatpants on. You see a little bit of redness right there and right there. We know these are gunshot wounds. Like, why blur that? You don't see skin. You don't see meat. Nothing like that. No sense in putting a blur box over it. I can understand them wanting to put a blur box over his face, maybe. But even then, I don't even think a blur box is needed.
Hey, see what he just asked us. He said something about a gunshot.
Make sure everybody got hit upstairs.
So the packaging and everything, a lot of these packages should have tear notches in them so that you don't have to use a cutting tool to get these things open. If the package doesn't have a tear notch made into it, then I would recommend making a tear notch by making a couple small tiny cuts in the corner, like a V cut. That way, when you go to open your kit, you can see that very distinguishable V cut and know to tear along that area right there.
Right here.
We get a tourniquet on his leg.
Here's it on the arm.
I got 6 on the arm.
We're coming.
Yeah, they're coming.
Hey, you got a marker on you?
Hey,
Yeah, I do.
you got plastic. I need plastic. I need plastic.
on the time when you get it.
I need plastic.
Hold on.
Everybody in that apartment's good, Sergeant. Everybody in that apartment's good.
You got tape.
The sweatpants, they're not very restrictive at all. I think it would have been perfectly okay for him just to grab the waist of the sweatpants and yank them down and completely pull them off of the guy. Again, you've worn sweatpants before. You know how loose fitting they are, how easy they are to come off. Just if they got pants on like that, or like gym shorts, loose fitting clothing, just yank them off of them. That's a whole lot faster than sitting there trying to use shears and cut all the way up the pant leg. So for him, I would have just yanked his sweatpants off and then go to work from there. So putting on a tourniquet, he's putting it up there high and tight like it should be. Tourniquets always go high and tight, high up the limb as possible, and then make it as tight as possible. We don't really get to see a whole lot of other medical treatment being done, but past this point, for him with these legs, after tourniquets are being put on, you can start putting pressure bandages over top of it and doing that, and then I'm assuming he's probably been hit in the chest. Start putting your occlusive dressings there, and then do what you're able to do at your scope of practice. When it comes to this kind of medical care, TCCC is the preferred way of going about that business. TCCC is Tactical Combat Casualty Care. It is a level of pre-hospital care treatment that was made for battlefield type of injuries. And now when I say battlefield injuries, that is of course meaning things like hand grenades and mortars and stuff like that, but it also includes small arms fire. So here domestically, although we're not really seeing hand grenades being used, or bazookas and artillery rounds being used, IEDs, stuff like that, on a large scale basis, we still have small arms fire. And when you just use the data sets from small arms fire, you will still see the data driving the tactics behind TCCC. And so in TCCC, you follow MARCH, MARCH, and the first letter is M for massive hemorrhaging. So you stop all the bleeding first. And the reason why is because bleeding is one of the leading causes of death on the battlefield, people bleeding out. So when you look at your standard first aid training kind of stuff, from American Red Cross or American Heart, they're talking about the ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation, still talking about treating the same things. It's just kind of going about it just a slightly different kind of way, and there's a whole lot of less emphasis on these type of battlefield traumatic injuries. You just don't see the curriculum with American Heart or Red Cross focusing on tourniquets. It may have a small written part in there talking about tourniquets, but there's no training or practice involving with it. Unlike TCCC, you get lots of hands-on training experience with putting tourniquets on people. So not only do you need to have the equipment to deal with these kind of injuries, but you also got to have the knowledge, and the knowledge has to be sought because at a bare minimum, agencies just aren't providing it. They'll provide at bare minimum CPR, AED, first aid level of training, and the first aid stuff is just not adequate. It's really not. It's more about putting band-aids on people, and you can't take a band-aid and put it over a freaking bullet hole. It's just not going to work. Alright, so I don't think there's much of anything else to be talking about in this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.